Absolutely true. Biden is guilty of obstruction. 1,850 boxes unchecked, many found in Chinatown, heavy on classified documents. He has been totally uncooperative, won't show the documents under any circumstances, and is fighting like hell.
That was former President Donald Trump, spreading out their conspiracy theories that accused Joe Biden of everything from espionage to bribery to running a global organized crime racket. Boy, Joe Biden keeps busy. Republicans call Joe Biden a global criminal kingpin. The same Joe Biden they also say is too senile to tie his shoes. And Donald Trump wasn't done, at one point getting so worked up that he actually forgot how to read his teleprompter.
And did absolutely nothing wrong, but was purposely given by the DOJ and Biden a Trump-hating prosecutor, Jack Smith. He's a Trump hater. His wife's a Trump hater. His family's a Trump hater. They all hate Trump. They hate him with a passion. They'll do anything they can to hurt Trump. But he's a harasser and an abuser of our people.
This is actually an area where Donald Trump has some experience. Because remember, he was found liable for sexually assaulting and abusing writer E. Jean Carroll. And as usual, everything comes back to the MAGA movement's greatest enemy, imaginary election fraud.
In order to obstruct and interfere with the 2020 presidential election. That's why they're doing it. We're leading by a lot in the polls. If I weren't, I believe it would all stop. Or if I weren't running, I believe it would all stop immediately, but that's not going to happen. The public will not stand for this unequal treatment. Joe Biden is guilty. I am not at all. Thank you very much.
Now, if I hadn't personally seen this video uploaded to Trump's Truth Social account, I would have guessed it was a bad deepfake. And let's ignore for a second that Trump apparently still thinks it's 2020. There's still an eager audience for what the T-Man is saying, and Trump's conspiracies are about to start costing taxpayers a lot more money.
It is with the highest amount of solemnity that I announce my intention to introduce articles of impeachment today on the head of this America at Last executive branch that has been working since January 20th, 2021 to systematically destroy this country. The President of the United States, Joseph Robinette Biden. Joe Biden has deliberately compromised our national security by refusing to enforce immigration laws and secure our border.
It's a big day for Georgia Congresswoman Marjorie Taylor Greene, because I think she actually pronounced all of those words correctly. Greene introduced articles of impeachment against President Joe Biden last week, a move inspired in large part by the Trump world's newest conspiracy theory.
Joe Biden has reinstated catastrophic and disastrous catch-and-release policies which have allowed illegals to flood our country and our communities. He ended Remain in Mexico and reinstated catch and release. Under Biden's command, the Secretary of Homeland Security has illegally granted mass parole to aliens when U.S. federal law only permits parole to be granted on a specific case-by-case basis.
Okay, that's enough. Fact check time. Despite what Greene says here, every president since Harry Truman in 1952 has used the immigration parole system to engage in what she calls mass parole. That's a term that Republicans have made up. It's not an actual legal definition. Think of it like partial birth abortion, another word designed by Republicans to scare you into voting against your best interests. And don't take my word for it. Even the right-wing Heritage Foundation admits that the executive branch has been granted immigration parole authority by Congress. But knowing that would require Marjorie Taylor Greene to actually read a book. One thing is true. The number of illegal border crossings has risen significantly since January. But what Republicans don't say is that the Biden administration has actually stopped proportionately more crossings than Donald Trump had at the same point in his presidency. Though something tells me Marjorie Taylor Greene didn't think her impeachment argument was really strong enough to stand on its own. Because if you're not buying that immigration stuff, she has more conspiracies to sell you. And now she wants Joe Biden removed from office because he was too mean to conservatives.
We never thought we would see a time where our government has been weaponized against its political enemies and targets conservative Americans every single day. These are extraordinary times, and that's why impeachment is the tool that must be used in order to save America.
Yeah, you see, Green doesn't actually have any examples of that weaponization of government. In fact, House Republicans' own investigation into the so-called weaponization of government has mainly succeeded in humiliating them. So you can understand if Green is a little sensitive about getting dunked on. Among Green's arguments for impeachment is her allegation that Twitter used to censor conservative accounts. It's not true, and anyway, it's difficult to see what that has to do with Joe Biden at all. But with a Republican Party swimming in actual criminal scandals, Green has an incentive to throw up as much smoke as she can. With all that free time from not governing, Republicans are doing their best to flood the zone with the perception that Joe Biden is a criminal. As we learned in 2016, unchallenged lies quickly become the truth. Democrats should bury Green's impeachment propaganda before it becomes a cancer. If that got you fired up, check out these anti-gay Karens who spent their afternoon heckling low-paid Target employees. And as always, subscribe to the channel and leave a comment below so you can let me know what I should cover next.